All right, so just a quick recap. Just going to spin the camera around. Actually, I don't need to. So this is the motor control board I was using. Interestingly, the spec said it's rated at, I can't remember now, but a lot. I'll have to look it up and post it in a side picture in a minute. But it was considerable amount amp-wise rated to, but it wasn't, and the motor in the diesel heater was enough to kill the power FET on it. It's not completely dead, but it's had its days. So we got rid of that, and we've now mounted that one. Interestingly enough, the spec on that one is a lot less, despite the fact it's got a heatsink on and copes with the power of the fan. So it's just the ratings of these things from China. You know, it's like when you see a bit like the you know, before long people will be selling 50 kilowatt diesel heaters, and they look exactly the same as the 3 kilowatt ones, won't they, or 5 kilowatt ones. We know what it's like. All this stuff from China's just rated to become clickbait for you to buy it, really. But that's fine, we know that, and without it we wouldn't be here, would we? So so I've replaced the board. I have done a test on it and it seemed to work. So just for the sake of completeness, we're going to try it out. So power up. That noise you can hear there isn't the fan heater, the fan in the heater. That noise is actually coming from my charger, which incidentally says we are drawing 8.5 amps at 12.6 volts, which is about right for the glow plug on these things. So in a few seconds, hopefully we're going to hear the fan start up and the diesel pump. There we go. I'm going to turn that fan down, so it doesn't need to be as high as that to get it going. Didn't turn the, sorry about that guys, I left the switch off for the pump, diesel pump. So that's just clicked a couple of times and already we're ignited by the sounds of it. Let's just have a quick look at the temperature. Yeah, that's rising. Oops, rising quite nicely. So I've just increased the dosing rate on the pump. That's the fan rate going up. Just bring that down a sec at dosing rate. We need that to get to 50 degrees. I'm pretty sure from the last session I had that set at 50 degrees Celsius for the thermostat to take over from the timing circuits. Got some exciting news about that, which we'll come to later in the video. This is probably the last time you're going to see this in its present form. Right, it's timed out. So we didn't get up to temperature in time for the thermostat to take over. That's fine. So we're going to try igniting again. Now this is just really a stage of trial and error now and calibration. so we know what pump rate and fan rate we need to get it started. I'd be very disappointed if it didn't start this time round, because of course everything's quite warm inside the chamber, so it should go well. Whoa, there we go. So it looks like we're going to make our 50 degrees coming out of the outlet quite soon. There we go, 52, it switches in. I think it's a 2 degrees spread on the thermostat for hysteresis. So that's good. So the thermostat has now taken over from the timer boards. It's well ignited and we're producing heat. I'm going to bring it up now. Oh, we've got some nice black smoke there. So the question is, do I bring the air up? Yeah, let's bring the air up and leave the pump dose in heavy. And the black smoke has cleared. So we are able to adjust the air-fuel ratio very easily on this, which was the aim really, I guess. We can either weaken it by bringing the fan speed up, or we can do it by bringing the pump ratio down. There we go, guys. So it is working. The whole concept is there, it's working fine, and it is probably the last time you're going to see it quite in this form. And I'll come to that in a moment or two. But there we are. Very pleased, very satisfying to see it working. In a minute, hopefully, the orange LED will go out. There we are. Now we've got full voltage going up to the fan controller. That works really well. I'm chuffed. Okay, guys, so now we're going to try and close it down. So I've switched the dosing pump off. So now it's burning off any surplus fuel it's got inside. In an ideal world, when we do this, the glow plug should come on, and I might add another switch or relay to do that. So you switch the dosing pump off, and you can then switch the glow plug back on for a bit. I just don't want to overcomplicate it. I want to try and keep it as simple as possible for people to replicate. And there we go. And hopefully quite soon, when the burn chamber stops, the heat exchanger stops producing so much heat coming out. At the moment it's blowing out 78.2 and it's reducing, and when it gets to 50 it should close down. Let's just see how warm. Oh, that's encouraging as well. The heatsink for the motor driver this time round is lovely and cool, so that's very encouraging. You know, that was the cheapest of cheap motor driver board I could find, and it's just something I had laying around left over from a an electric bike project I was working on a few summers ago during the first lockdown. So it's just something I had laying around and it made sense to use it. But this board here seems to be working fine. So in a minute we should see the thermostat click off and the green, there we go. So it's working. Right, okay. I'll turn it off and I'll come back to you in a second. So that test was carried out in England a couple of days ago, and I'm now talking to you from Romania in Central Europe. Pretty cold here actually. It's been pretty cold. Could do with a diesel heater. I didn't bring the diesel heater out with me, and I really wish I had done. We dipped down to minus 12 Celsius last night, and we're expecting about -7 tonight. It's been pretty cold. We went out for a walk today, and lots of ice all over the place. Maybe I'll see if I can add a couple of pictures in a moment of the ice. So where were we? We've established that we blew the motor board up, motor controller board, and I've replaced that for a cheaper one, and it seems to work fine. And the next stages. So here's the next thing. I found a board which hopefully you can see now. Hopefully that's worked and you saw a board. That's going to be the new pump controller board. It goes against what I originally wanted. My original design concept was that I was going to have a rotary adjustment on for the pump duty cycle, but this board looks like it'll be ideal because you can adjust the frequency and see what you've adjusted it to on the display, and also adjust the duty cycle, which is something we want to do. The downside is you've got to use up-down buttons to do each function, but we'll try it and give it a go. The nice thing about it is delivered is less than a £5, so it's worth a try, and hopefully when I get back to the UK next week, that'll be there waiting for me to try. The next thing is the thermostat. So at the moment, the thermostat I'm using is a 0 to 110 degrees Celsius. So I'm hanging it on the airflow coming out of the diesel heater. So I found these other devices up there. Hopefully, if I've got it right, you can see that. It's in a TO220 package, I think. Same as like a TIP31, IRF 350, that sort of package. LM7805, I'm sure it's TO220 package. Anyway, what this device is, it's like a mechanical thermostat in a way. It's open circuit until it gets to 95 degrees Celsius, and then it goes closed circuit, and it remains closed circuit until it drops back down again to below 95. So I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to try and use that to drive a relay, and that's going to be attached directly to the heat exchanger in the same way as the existing thermocouple is. I'm hoping that'll be an easy fix, and if it works, that'll be great. We can rely on that then to take over the supply, excuse me, once it's up to temperature and the timer's time out. So that's the next evolution of the controller. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible so everyone can build it very cheaply, and I also want to do it in a way that you can easily just put your diesel heater back to stock. I think that's quite an important thing, just to be able to change it back to stock, unplug a few plugs, change it back to stock. I think that's quite an important feature to include. So that's the next logical thing. Okay, so with that, I'm going to say goodbye. And after this video goes up, it's going to be at least a week before I post any more. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you're all keeping well. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers for now.